We're face live.
Face
Who
live.
I have a
Voice
face.
live.
Oh no.
It's alive.
Oh god,
Is it?
you have half a face.
Half
You're
a face.
Half the face I used to have.
Can I be a Batman villain now?
I'm half the face I used to have.
Oh god.
There we go. Alright. I am no longer a Batman villain, I guess. Darn.
Fell on the briar. He's half the face he used to have. Oh.
Okay. Hi everyone who's actually here. I don't know who that is, but
I'm actually here.
I need to
Hi,
turn
I'm
the
actually here.
volume down.
Panda, you're not allowed to make that joke to me. As a
That's
dad.
true.
As
That's
a
true.
dad. I will claim that joke. No, everyone's allowed to make dad jokes. They're fun.
I'm just looking in this playlist. There's like Elden Ring shit on here too. Huh. That's dope.
Oh, I
What is
had
that?
a good one earlier. I was talking to JB about sympathies. Because I said my sympathies. Then my brain did the thing.
The aphasia thing that you do where you say not that word?
No,
For
no,
a different
your
thing.
native tongue.
the terrible thing. Where I was
where
like,
you
Dave,
just think of a terrible
did you ever
thing to say?
hear about the ancient, the man from ancient Greece who
No.
he loved this he followed this woman around and showed her affection and all this stuff, but put her on this huge pedestal. He was sympathies.
Oh Jesus.
Nope. That's as soon as you said ancient Greece, I was like, I know where he's going. That's why I said no. I was like, nope.
Sympathies.
Nope.
It's bad.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, I guess the stream's over. Sorry.
That's is
Blame
what it
me,
is, I
no.
guess. Find someone to raid. Maybe we don't want to put that. We probably don't want to put that on anyone.
Yeah.
Anyway,
my friend Pixel Pharaoh is streaming. You can give them a throw, just saying.
I don't remember where we left off, and I'm not gonna lie. Normally, I go and rewatch the whole previous one, and kind of ramp up before these. I fell asleep, so I got up 10 minutes before it's time to start the Zoom call.
Nice,
So,
yeah. I also made poor use of my time, but then I decided to take a shower because I had not done that after mowing the lawn this morning, and was like, oh, I should be cleanish for this. That'd be nice.
Yeah, at least not itchy, Being itchy sucks.
Yeah, at least not grass itchy, especially.
What the fuck? What is this formatting? What is this?
What is the formatting?
Why are there so many formats? No, for real though, what the fuck is happening? This is the weirdest shit. Hold on, let me fix
Going
it.
on.
So, I think last time we ended on talking about classes. So I remember talking about how I saw the Pilgrim as a weird paladin cowboy. Because I was really excited about that.
I've got my what's jitsu with the thingamabobbers.
Some of these beats, they'll just get in you, man.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, let's see. So yeah, we were talking about classes, I think, because we were kind of talking about what we expect out of each of them. I remember us going over that each one of the subclasses is kind of related to, mind, body, soul thing, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of their other secondary kind of thing or whatever. And we were kind of talking about what we expect from each of them, I guess. And we made sure to say, all of these classes' names are placeholder names because we don't know what we actually want to name them. But
That is all true. I know we talked about the Aegis. I'm just adjusting the screen real quick. Give me 1 second, and I'll be all the way focused. There we go. I think that looks good. Cool. Panda, why are you grinning like that? What are you doing?
Yeah, what mischievous nonsense are you getting into?
I'm still fishing, maybe, in a game, and we're playing a Minecraft mod. I'll explain this. And JB has been looking for a rabbit to kill to get its foot for like a few days now. Not in Minecraft days, but real days.
Jeez.
And I just sat down and made a fishing pond and started fishing, and I got a treasure bag out of it. I opened it up and it had a rabbit's foot in it.
Oh.
I'm like, oh,
That's funny.
cool.
It would have been funnier if it was the whole ass rabbit. I think.
Whole,
yeah,
Oh, what kind of magic trick is this?
exactly.
Bag, huh?
But
Sounds
the
like
rabbit's
the
foot's still
grisly
pretty
leavings
cool.
of a future serial killer.
Grizzly bag. Yeah.
Oh, look! I got a rabbit's foot. It's just like 10 days earlier, just some fucking wacko just murdering small animals.
Oh no!
Practice.
Just practicing,
It's good luck.
dividing up the body into separate pieces and putting them all in different bodies of water as well. Like that's why it was in the fishing pond.
God.
He chopped it up into like 8 pieces. Each one
It's a
goes in a
serial
different
killer
body
that
of water.
never actually graduates to humans.
A hunter?
But treats the animal victims as if they were human casualties, right?
Yeah.
So like the police are gonna come get him for it, kind of thing. Resolving him in
Puts the
lie, burying
lotion
him under
on
the
its
floorboards. Yeah, the
Oh,
whole
God.
9 yards.
It literally Buffalo Bill. Like,
Yeah, it actually
Yeah.
gets a buffalo, puts it in a well.
I feel like that's gonna go places.
That's also not gonna go in their favor. Buffaloes are really big, and
Yeah,
goodbye
I wouldn't
horses.
try
Yeah.
one. So what the fuck should we work on today? Or what are we working on today? I feel like we did some work on skills. We did that shit.
I got skills.
But yeah, we're still kind of nailing down all the rest of the core pieces. Because we need to do that. Were you about to say something, Panda?
No.
It's okay. Still can't fix that either. Okay. Let's see. Classes.
Hydrating, Ellie. Hydrating.
Oh, I see it.
hydrate.
Ah, shit.
Big
I'm
old
going to
thing of
hydrate
water
with
over
this
here,
non-disturb.
just for that.
There's
I'll
water
be
in
back.
it.
I left my water in the fucking office.
You sound like people I know, Panda, saying there's water in it. But they aren't talking about soda. That's for sure. They're talking about the beer.
The beer.
The beer.
The beer.
God. That's such a good bit, dude. It's so funny. Now,
Well, that I have our
opposite
volume
of
turned
hydrate, I'm gonna
down
drink this
low,
energy drink.
but not super low. So it's funny whenever I speak up doing a bit, I hear myself. 10 seconds later, I'm going. Me, I hear me. No.
Just cringe super hard. Too bad there's not a mute self thing, so that whenever we do like playbacks of YouTube and like to rewatch to get the notes or whatever, you're like, I'm just gonna mute me so I gotta listen to me talk.
Yeah. It's because it's my normal voice too. Like if I'm doing an accent, it's not as hard on me to hear myself talk.
Yeah, I can confirm when I'm doing my Eli voice, it is not as abrasive to mine ears.
All right, I'm back.
There he is.
I got my water.
He's got water.
I hydrated.
But nobody,
have to
well,
fulfill the demand.
I shouldn't say nobody, but most people, Ellie, do not like the sound of their own voice because it doesn't sound the same, right?
Yeah,
That's
you
what
don't-
it
you
is.
don't
It's
sound the
not
same to
that,
yourself.
yeah, it's not that we don't think we sound good or anything. It's just that it sounds,
We don't sound like we.
yeah, it sounds different than what I think I sound like every day.
Yeah.
So I have that, I really sound like that moment.
Yeah, I fucking hate the sound of my own voice. Like, it's
On
so
recordings.
dissimilar to how it is in my
Yeah.
head.
Yeah, exactly. Like on recordings, it is just, if you could play back how I sound to me, that'd be fine. But on recordings,
Yeah.
I'm like, who is that? Oh, that's me.
Might be a little more confusing just because you're like, I'm not talking. Why? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we return.
I mean, sure, but unless you're just like, rest in peace, Gilbert Gottfried. But unless you're just Gilbert Gottfrieding at people, it's not like so abrasive that you can't just listen to them talk for a while.
rest in peace. But I'm gonna talk a little bit of shit about you,
Dude. Rest in peace, but his voice was abrasive on purpose.
His voice was iconic, sir.
Yes.
There is a positive way you can spin
abrasive.
that.
Iconically abrasive. Still abrasive.
You can leave it at iconic. It's much nicer.
Did y'all hear
I mean,
about the
that
new,
is true. It was definitely iconic. He made a career off that voice, so.
He straight up did, man.
Did you hear about the Apple game where you mix drinks? And you have your rum, your whiskey, your tonic.
Why do we let him in here?
I don't know. What was it that you
do
said
it every
about,
time.
Nintendo and Apple? And I was like,
Oh, yeah,
they're
like-
both companies. Oh, that was.
We were talking about the charger for. I was looking
The
for a
Switch being a
USB,
proprietary
whatever,
charger.
the
Yeah, you
round
went for
USB
USB-C.
one. Yeah, and I was like, oh, I can use the one for the Switch. Oh, that's not actually a USB-C.
Yeah, it's a
Proprietary. It's like
yeah, it's
fucking Nintendo.
Only
They're almost
Nintendo thing.
almost as bad as Apple with their proprietary shit.
and I was like, I don't remember what I said exactly, but something along the lines of that we like Nintendo's products or something, and I said something about them both being companies. It was a funny joke at the time that I wish I could reiterate better to everyone, but it made me laugh. So
Yeah, I don't know how to get on track today. Ellie, ask us some questions.
yeah,
That'll get us on track.
yeah,
What would you like to know about our upcoming game?
because we're gonna put all the responsibility. I almost said responsibility. Responsibility on you, the viewer.
Yeah,
That's how the Unnatural
like
one-
pre-releases.
Like pre-releases. Yeah. Like alphas.
Or what is it,
Yeah, we
pre-alphas,
want
yeah.
some free we want some free game testers. So here's this pre-alpha. But you have to pay us. Dude, straight up. Yes, practice your interview skills, please and thank yous. In this economy. What is that? It's Bob's Burgers. That's what it was. That Tina was like trying to get to where she could sit at the adults table, and her like line was her follow up line. I think was in this economy, and it like she puts it in a place that does not make sense. It's funny. She just wanted to sound like a grown up. Oh man.
Okay, well, while we wait for Ellie to come up with some pointed questions here. Also, I think my voice is probably loud as shit because hold on, I don't think I fixed the filters in this scene. Didn't. It does not need these things. Hopefully that helps. Anyway, turn it down just a tad. It seems to be trying to peak over here. Anyway, let's just come up with some questions. Let's look at our base. Our base classes again: Invoker, Exorcist. I have to keep telling myself these are placeholder names because I'm like, I don't know if Exorcist fits anymore. But Soldier, Agent, and Wanderer.
See. Oh yes, we. The. Those
They all
things.
have
Words,
classes
yes.
/ archetypes / whatever you want to call them. And so yeah, and I think we kind of went over what we saw them as last time. Kind of our different ideas of their subclasses. I need to get that pulled up so I can add it to the sheet so that the chat can see it too.
My ear. You ever do that? Ellie had to think. But before we do that, I'm going to say this. You ever have that thing where you have like an itch in your ear or something, and instead of scratching it, you do what I just did, which is like twitch your face to like try and itch your ear somehow? That's not ever going to work.
Yeah.
But it was just like an irritant, and I was like, oh, I can get rid of that. And I was like, no, I can't. I have a headphone on, and it's inside that, and it's like
an irritant.
An irritant, yeah. It was in my ear. It was an irritant. Okay. So Ellie asks, speaking of economy, have you all decided on a monetary system yet? Will there be a heavy bartering system? People use their bodies as collateral, so if they fail to pay back before they die, their body becomes property of the loan officer. Our body's considered property of the government.
I mean, that's a hell of a fucking question.
It is. It's a very in-depth and really good like world view question. I like it.
As soon as I get this stuff that I wanted to get on screen, I will absolutely talk about that. Conduit Maestro. Let me just move this over here so I can do multiple things. What if I did that? What if I was efficient? I'll do it.
Efficiency.
Maestro. Arcanist. And then Exorcist has Clergy. Pilgrim.
When you get a bunch of babies working together in a line, that's infantcy.
No, I don't think that one works. That was a good try to force that one in there, but I don't think that one works.
Was it?
No, it wasn't. I'm being nice.
Being nice to him, unlike how you were to Gilbert Godfrey.
Yeah, I don't know Gilbert Godfrey. I know him.
Which means Gilbert Gottfried has never wronged you.
In
like
theory.
Panda has wronged you.
Yeah, that is also true.
This is a picture of The Rock. Look at his eyes. I'm going to have to share that in the fucking Discord
in the Discord?
so
yes,
people get what I'm talking about.
So people will get our joke.
You lied to me. Okay.
One of the single best jokes of all time.
Okay, I've done the thing. Now, I'm going to read Ellie's question again because that was intricate. Speaking of the economy, have you all decided on a monetary system yet? No. Will there be a heavy bartering system? Probably. Not as the main... I don't see that as the main economy, but like I can imagine that being, especially in like rural areas and stuff, because that still happens today. But let's see, people using bodies as collateral, so if they fail to pay back before they die, their body becomes property of the loan officer. Our body is considered property of the government. If by bodies you mean corpses, I would say yeah, right? Like,
especially like not necessarily like normal legit loan things. Like if you take money from a loan shark, that is very possible what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being the case where like. Jeez, yeah, like you can... Yeah, like your corpse is technically property, so it's a thing that you could... As dark and morbid as it sounds, it's the kind of world this is, you could like leave it to your children, or to someone else in your will, or whatever, right? And obviously there are ways that the government could claim it, or other people, so... Yeah, like you owe somebody enough money or whatever, like that could be the thing you put up as like, you know. Now granted, what kind of value it has is actually another very interesting question. Like, I don't know how much a corpse is actually worth.
Depends on the corpse.
Yeah, it's like obviously going to depend on like condition, that kind of thing too, but like what all can they be used for other than obviously humors, but... If you're not alive, you're not reproducing those. You actually become a drain on resources, but you're a source of labor. So, I mean, corpses are... I don't know. That's a tough one. Like, that's a tough thing to put a value on, even though it can be turned into an undead creature or whatever and used as a source of labor or even like experiments or what have you. But what the heck is the value there?
Yeah.
Because they're only going to be in such like the max, like the top level, the ceiling, right? In like the like condition and how valuable it is as a source of labor is probably not super high, right? Ellie says, in that case, people might be less inclined to do activities or undergo medical procedures that will devalue their corpse. Sure. Especially people who would have otherwise been valuable. Like, what makes them valuable, right? I mean, I guess it's just one of those things that's really varied. We just need to, I guess, because I'm more of the world builder person, need to figure that out. Figure out what, like, kind of things they get valued for other than that. Because I could see that running a huge gamut of options. Like, some of them could legitimately be considered art pieces or historical or whatever the hell, right? Like, yeah. Oh gosh, parents raising a group of kids for strong teenage corpses. Yikes.
Well, I mean, okay, so I will say this about that, and this is going to elicit a groan from everyone really fast because I'm going to mention Rome. I know, right? In ancient Rome, it was considered the duty of Roman families to produce as many like hardy children as possible, and that's also kind of a thing. It's like when people are a commodity, in the sense as laborers were in ancient times, Rome especially because it was a country that was always trying to expand and push the boundaries of what was needed. So you always needed people for farming. You always needed people for physical manual labor. You always needed soldiers, right? All of those things were always necessary. So it's like you were incentivized to have as many kids as you could, as fast as you could, and raise them as strong and in the Roman tradition as best you could. That is like historically a precedent that has already been set. But
yeah. But, yeah, I guess it also probably like, depends on where you're at, because the different regions have different laws and that kind of thing. As much as Riftreach is a nation, there are three very distinct different like governing bodies in it, obviously, because you have the college, the council, and the church, and they all have different laws. But I was also thinking of like kind of expanding. I've still been sort of loosely working on the map for this world and stuff. And I was thinking of like expanding some of the different regions. Like, obviously, there's something like akin to a frontier. There are actually other places. They're just not central to what we're building right now. But we even had before, because we have the heritage, which are the things that are, what you're born with, which is like your affinity toward one of the many humors. But a thing that anyone who watches Into the Storm and is familiar with how I run Hyeth understands is that I am also a fan of breaking down a character's background into more than just their race or whatever, and giving them a culture they're attached to or an ethnicity and all that kind of stuff. Which I would like to carry the same thing forward here. Let me go back to my other sheet. Because we did have... I did come up with like a few of them. I think there was only like 3 though. Before, of like the different cultures. Let me see if we can find that real quick. And then I'll decide if that even matters and if we should spend any more time on it. So, where is all our stuff? I know one was, there's like Riga, Kahlo, and something else. Motherfuck. We have too many info sheets.
so many. Oh, you know what? I just realized I don't have the Google Drive open. I had the Roll20 open and was looking through that, and then I just forgot to open the Google Drive.
More world stuff open.
There we go.
Let's see, is it in setting? Nope, it's top-down setting. I don't think it's in here. Oh, but these are interesting things. I think it is in here. No, it isn't. Mer people.
Mer people.
Mer people.
This is a bunch of other fucking details I haven't got into. Rift reaches a federal oligarchy. Early stages of the industrial age. 5 seats of power. Nation. Rem, Valir, Throvis, Evamy, and Brink. Stuff about heritages. Stuff about mer people. I apparently already worked on some of the laws for the different cities, though. I didn't remember that. But that's not actually what I'm looking for. While I look for that, did Ellie say anything else?
Conspiracy time. Are some doctors encouraged to have a minimum mortality rate because healthier bodies break down slower after all?
Yes.
Also, we should just say about
where
people,
corruption can be assumed, assume corruption, because that is one of the things that we built into this world.
Yeah, I was going to say too. She also said about how like poor people are encouraged to have as many kids as possible, while rich people have fewer with more resources given to them. And I was like, you just described all of society. But you know,
not wrong.
Like
not wrong.
in history, not just like right now. I'm not trying to make a statement about just current world. I mean, just in general. And she made a good point that if you want something that's like kind of horrifying and also, you know, really can like hit people where they live, just go as close to reality as you can.
True.
Which is a great point.
Very true. Okay, Riga, Kolo, and Edic. Which originally was, the Riga were basically people born in the... This is when we were still when it was still the church, the college, and the crown instead of the council.
Yeah.
Which was our first iteration. Which honestly is still interesting, but we're past it.
Yeah.
And so those are people who were born in the crown states, so we'll have to get that changed. The Kolo, or colonists, are people born in the outer colonies, and then the Edic, or people born in the places that aren't even considered civilized.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably at some point very soon go through there and revamp those to make them more fun.
He asks how dark we're going with
dark are we? Orphanages? Yeah. Dude, like think the grimy, like dark stories and shit you see from like you know, fucking
Alright. If Oliver 18th? Twist was also in a
19th century
dystopian fantasy world. Yeah, if Oliver Twist was in a dystopian fantasy world, bazinga.
Basically, yeah. That's straight up. We probably won't go all the way Nazis. I don't think we need Nazis, but
I heard the Motley Crue with My Vampire name.
Like Brothers Grimm stuff. Yeah, why not? There was a point I was gonna make though, and I don't remember what it was. Me neither. But no, that other stuff I'm still stewing on, the thing about the corpses being property. I would say for sure, in areas controlled by the college, those are the places it's hardest to keep ownership of your corpse. Because they want it.
Yeah. And they will make any kind of thing to get it from you. Similar to how regular universities will do anything to get you to participate in whatever test that they need you to do. Like, hey,
Yeah.
can you come for this sleep study? Hey, can you come for this weird other thing? Hey, can we hook these diodes up to your head and show you a bunch of weird pictures? Like, you know.
Ellie says maybe bringing the kids up like 24/7 boot camp, stronger bodies, stronger corpses. After all, so like that's so I could see that potentially being a thing. Probably, I don't know if it would happen in Rift Reach, and I think the main reason is corpses are useful. Like undead are useful, but they're not as useful as a living person. So you wouldn't want to like waste a human life just trying to make them a better corpse, because inevitably that corpse is going to break down, right? Like they are not as they can't self-heal or any of that stuff. They last a certain amount of time if you're putting them to work, and they will eventually break down because they can't repair themselves. Whereas a person can be injured and recover and learn and do more things. So people are still more valuable than corpses. The corpse, however, is a way to get extended value out of your population. So I don't know if we'd see a lot of stuff of like mills happening where they're just trying to make better corpses. You may see isolated situations of that, especially in places like the college where they are doing experiments to learn more about the capabilities of these things, and they are not good ones. Optics-wise, obviously, they're going to put only the stuff that seems more humane, that is obviously going to benefit society, that is obviously pushing forward their objective of making humanity stronger, strong enough to fight against the unnatural and to close the rifts. All that stuff's going to be on the posters. But the stuff that involves, like trying to capture people and try to experiment and see which one ends up making a more resilient corpse when they're dead, or at what age a corpse is most useful, and that kind of stuff, where it's like, I don't know how much this helps us, guys. This probably just helps you.
Right, yeah.
That stuff, not going to be advertised. Unlife in prison. Yikes. OG's the government would probably be very free with the death sentence. Steal something. Oh yeah, death. Because this isn't 20th century, right? Like we're still a little bit back there. Plus, it is not a stable world. You would call like Earth overall. We have natural disasters and things. We don't have alien invasions. Monsters aren't popping up. Like, we don't have anything like that. All of our beef is with other fucking people. So, and the occasional animal, but they aren't wiping out scores of folks anymore, right? Yeah. We, like, in Fourth Wall here, we live in a stable world, whereas if you take, Oliver Twist put him in a crazy fantasy world where monsters and shit pop up all the time, and that kind of stuff happens.
You gotta worry about, like, literal giants, like, that are stitched abominations of, like, hybrid machine and human that are, 15 feet tall, crashing through the wall of your orphanage and murdering everybody. Yeah, that's a weird problem.
That world does not allow for as many chances as this one does, even when we were in the same, like, relative time period. And we were pretty fucking liberal with the death penalty for a long time. Some states still are.
You could be executed by firing squad in this state until 2009. It was like in most states.
I think it was. Yeah.
North Carolina, you still can.
Was it 2009?
You still can.
I thought it was later.
Dude, it was. It
was like hella recent. Yeah.
It might have been 2019. It had a 9 in it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have to Google this.
But that makes sense. Still healthier people live longer, so then the bodies can last extra long. I mean, that's true. Yeah, better condition is going to last a lot longer. But yeah, I'm sure there's some kind of value system that's used. But yeah, as far as like out of the 3 governing bodies, the one that is most.
It is still legal. It was the last one that occurred was in like 2009. It is still legal to be executed by firing squad in the state we live in. Just according to Wikipedia. Okay. That's my source, by the way. So just saying now.
But yeah, the college would be the one that is most like upfront about the experimenting on corpses and using the undead for many, many different things. Um, the church. So let me be clear. All three of the governing bodies do this, right? The college has the least scruples about it. The council cities and people are they're more just about being practical. They're using what works because they have really good resources in some senses, but not as much access to either of the different sources of supernatural power.
I'm going to just say this so we can get this all edited. The last execution for firing squad in the United States was not here. It was in like North Carolina, and that was like 2009 or whatever. But it is still legal in this state. It has never been used since this was a state, but 2 men requested it in 2022, so we'll see what happens with that.
Lawless over Ruhi.
Yeah. Anyways,
welcome,
continue,
first time chatter.
My apologies. Yep.
What is the power sourcing? Sounds costly. I'm not sure what that means.
So, like, where people drop
of,
out
like,
from in this case would be
Yeah.
humors from the body.
Yes, if you're talking about, like, for the two different sources of power, they're still going to depend on the humors in the body because it's based on the old alchemy 4 humors thing, and then we added a 5th. So people, which would mean that yes, it is very costly. But there's one source would be supernal, which is kind of our divine, and then the other is what the heck do we call it? Scrolling through the magic. Primal.
I just keep saying arcane. Okay, there you go. I was like, I just keep saying arcane, even though I know that's not right, but that's just where my brain goes.
Primal / eldritch. The supernal magic, as we'll call it, is a bit more macro, is kind of how we're describing it. It's a bit more costly. It's very powerful. The primal magic is still very powerful, but it's kind of using a shortcut, and it sort of shows. So you get into higher mark spells and that kind of stuff. So, but yes, the power source is the humors. So blood, phlegm, that kind of thing. Plasma.
Bile.
Bile.
That's like
Yeah,
bile.
I was going to say there's like 1 or 2 types of bile or whatever they call it.
Yellow bile and black bile are for the humors.
That's
Because
what
with
it
blood,
is.
phlegm,
Yeah.
yellow bile, black bile.
Yeah, I don't have it pulled up right now. So yeah, powers from people. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so yeah, the corpse thing. All of them do it. The college is gonna have the fewest scruples about it. The council is gonna be more practical about it. They're just gonna use what works, whatever's been discovered, what they can get their hands on. The church is the most, I'll say, elitist about it, and I'm trying not to just constantly use negative terminology when it comes to the church, because the thing is, none of these are good guys.
Oh yeah, there are no good guys.
None of these groups are the good guys. Like they're all a facet of humanity trying to survive against the unnatural, and they all have good things they stand for, and they all have a bunch of shitty things that they do to get there, and selfishness and all the stuff that comes with it. But the church is the most concerned with the method and all of the details and things about the use of undead and about the turning and about the use of corpses in that sense. Not because we're in the church of course is against the undead, because that's not really a thing in this world, but they are more concerned with matters of the soul and the spirit and the afterlife and things, and what that can concern when you're using people as vessels for other things. So they're always a bit more concerned about it. They don't really create or experiment as much with corpses. And of course, they see there's a level of reverence for some people. There are obviously would be people they would not allow to be, turned into any kind of undead creature or anything like that. Likely there's a level of, this is a really respectful, really considerate thing that they're doing, but also they're going to make money off of it too, right? It's a thing you could probably pay for. So let's be real. You got a rich family and be like, oh, I don't want my grandbabies to be laboring in the fields. Can you bury them in the nice cemetery over here where you kill anyone caught digging up corpses? And they'll do that. And then they'll kill people who try to dig up corpses.
And then use their corpses instead.
Yeah.
It's the circle of death.
Oh yeah, there definitely gonna be some kind of like crazy holy revenant things for sure. We haven't quite got to the details on how undead work and stuff like that as far as mechanics go. So, are you planning for some anarchist groups that sound good on paper, but in actuality are just as bad? Yeah, I mean, I don't have like concrete ones right this second to show you, but that's like pretty much. That's pretty much every group,
I have
right?
all of like human history from the. We'll go with starting at the diggers. That's way back in the English Revolution, up to like now that we can just pull examples of that we could basically use those same kind of things.
Yeah, like
Or the
there's
levelers,
a reason.
excuse me, not the diggers. We'll go with the levelers. The diggers came after that, but the levelers were first.
But like, well, there's a reason we don't have like a freaking alignment system or anything in this. Like, there's nothing that's that cut and dry.
Your alignment is survival.
Yeah, like you could make a character you would consider very good, very altruistic and righteous and all that kind of stuff. Those people could absolutely exist here. My headphones are dying, so I'm trying to find my damn. But that's not going to be on like the macro level. Go ahead.
Oh, and that's what I was literally going to say. Was the macro level is not that. Individuals can have alignment that is vastly different from the organization they are a part of, right? Like that is the thing that has happened throughout all of everything as well. So don't ever feel pigeonholed by. We don't want people to ever feel pigeonholed by the fact that on the big picture there are no good guys. On the little picture there definitely are. There are great people, there are whatever like that. Not everybody is this callous, uncaring individual. Those
and I would say not even people within those larger organizations.
Not even the majority of people in the world are like that. It's just that the people who are in positions of authority and power are often that. Yeah. And since it's an oligarchy, the people at the top who control all the stuff, their attitude kind of trickles down into the organization itself.
Yeah. We're about to say something, Panda.
He said bless you when I said oligarchy because that's what he says whenever
something's
I say
in the air.
any word that is not a normal, regular word.
Lala says they're thinking about sainthoods in the church. I mean, yeah. I don't know what a saint would look like in this world because the gods are different. It's a really cool thematic thing. Obviously, Catholicism has a lot of like really cool thematics and stuff to draw from. That's why it's used so often in media. But I'm sure they have some equivalent. But it's less about like kind of embodying the divine and more. They'd have like a weird. Well, it's not even that weird because it's still true of sainthood now. I was gonna say it's kind of a meritocracy in a way. Like you have to like accomplish something, right? And you can be revered. There's not a lot of like praying to gods in this world as much. It's just not that kind. I don't know.
The church is. I want to say like how it seems and how we kind of. Yeah. It's more about channeling power from the divine and less about worship in the traditional sense that we, I think of, like we at the royal we here think of as worship. It is much more about how to utilize power from those sources and how to manifest like the will of the divine on the planet, much less about since the divines are more an active force, like a visibly active force in their lives than a lot of traditional.
Yeah. So to give just like a quick overview here, the unnatural we're talking about, the world is constantly plagued by these rifts where alien and dangerous type creatures and beings can come through and cause a lot of problems. This whole world has not necessarily been discovered. There are a lot of unknown areas. These rifts can happen in places that are not seen and be infested by creatures that don't belong in the world. They can eventually trickle into areas that make them very dangerous to humanity. They are all different kinds of danger, and they have been this way for centuries. For a time, the gods had basically created these essentially champions, these like very powerful people anointed with magic to help people fight back against these creatures and actually close these rifts. And that was like the major push in history, was to try to get all of them closed so that the world would be stable again, because the gods do still depend on people understanding and believing in them. Because of... let me bring that image up, hold on. Where is this image? There it is. Yeah, there's our cosmos image. Center there being creation, sort of your plane where all of it's like, think of like your prime material plane in D&D, sort of where all like the planets and other stuff, like all the physical things are.
Excuse me.
Each ring of this, or each level of this cosmos is separated by a ring of essentially chaos. The unknown is where things go that are forgotten. In a Hyeth and in Into the Storm and whatnot, this would be like the Hollow Archive. It's basically like if something is no longer like known to enough of the world, if it disappears physically, it passes into the unknown and is dead effectively. That's how gods die.
There's
they pass
basically
fully into the unknown.
No coming back from that. That
yes.
has been established in any case. Or I shouldn't say established, has been verified.
Yeah. As far as anyone knows, there's really no... Like, if you pass fully into the unknown, you do not come back. You can border it. You can even partially cross into it. But if you go all the way in, that's it. Gods don't want to go there, because gods don't exist in creation. They exist in the beyond. So if they're totally forgotten, they slip into the unknown and they're gone. Anyway, so that being said, that's why they bother to protect worlds. That's why they create people to remember them. This whole world was actually an accident. It is an amalgamation of other worlds that were being forgotten, that were being destroyed, that were abandoned by the gods, that solidified. Instead of being sunk into the unknown, it became its own entity. That's also why it's unstable. So
Ellie says that we liken the gods to eldritch beings. The lion doesn't really give a shit about the ants eating their scraps, except that in this case, they need the ants to continue to function. Like, they understand that they are a essential process of the like circle of life kind of thing. So since you said lion, I'm going to go with Lion King here. It's very much in the Mufasa saying, hey, we need those guys because they eat that, and then we eat them, and then, we die, and then they eat the grass. Like that scene in the Lion King, It's like that level of understanding, but also like, fuck that gazelle, I'm still going to eat it. Like, it's
yeah. So they don't need worship. They need to be remembered. They need to be known. Now, of course, the easiest way to do that is to make yourself necessary. But anyway, so in history, that's why they were anointing these champions and that kind of thing, to try to close these rifts, because this world was actually important. It was a great source of power and knowledge for them. Their influence was seen here. And the problem came which Ellie, you might remember some of this since you were in our original stream, but the problem happened that not enough of these champions existed. So there were lots of people on the outskirts and all over the place who they couldn't come help, and they were just being attacked by eldritch beings, right? Finding different ways to fight back. I'm just going to try to shorten it. People figured out that they could channel bits of this magic power, right? They couldn't do what the champions could do and fully take on the words, the supernal language, the words of the gods themselves, and call down divine power, and shift easily humors into primal energy and that kind of thing back and forth. But they could do a little bit if they spoke it backwards. It wouldn't make their head explode or their eyes burn out. They would just convert. Which humor is it? Choleric fire? I don't know.
Yeah. Choleric is fire.
So they would convert like
Pretty
choleric humor into flame and other things like that. They learned this, realized they could use that to fight back, started using it. It became an issue between them and the people who were trying to follow the champions and do as they did and learn their ways. That because they were like, yeah, hey, if you keep doing this, the gods, like, you're taking away the need for the gods, and they're going to stop helping us if they think we're a lost cause. That ended up creating enough tensions that this big ass war broke out. People fighting people, some of them channeling magic, some of them, very few of them, pulling bits of divine power. Mostly it was the champions and their kind of worshippers, essentially regular people, versus people who had been trained to fight by their circumstances. Got really bloody, got really terrible, but the champions were eventually killed. And while all this is happening, the gods pulled their support away. They stopped anointing champions. They stopped doing all this interaction. Their power still existed in the world. They couldn't really take that away. They're just the laws of the universe. But they stopped intervening because it made things worse. Making these champions only sparked this rivalry that nearly wiped out everyone. So they bounced. So anyway, all that being said, the church's goal is to continue to work to embody the champions, to essentially recreate them, to bring them back, to show the gods that they can be loyal, that the world still needs them. Maybe they will come back. Maybe they will help us close these rifts for good. The college's goal is that every person in Shard should be able to defend themselves from the unnatural. Period. People should be empowered to do that. The council sprang up after all this war and stuff, saying, hey guys, if we all kill each other, we're not really doing any of the stuff we want. We all are trying to survive. Why are we murdering each other? Like, that seems real counterintuitive. Maybe we should work together again. So the council's goal is to unite the different facets of humanity against the unnatural. So they first spring up where there's like a neutral ground. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate that.
Hey, thank you.
God, I'm saying so much. But yeah, so the council initially sprang up as a kind of a neutral ground. Right, to the Black Cap Chickadee song. I'm going to take the image away from now. So yeah, those are pretty much their main objectives. They each have a very defined thing, the mission statement, as it were. But they have been separate entities for a long time. It will likely continue to be. The council is often basically used as the place that they all negotiate between different things. But over time, the reason the council's kind of become its own thing is they have been somewhat rejected by the other two because they're playing both sides, as it were. Like, the college doesn't really want to share all of their top-notch research and their top-notch abilities and scholars and the like with the members of the council, because they're like, well, they're probably going to try to share it with the church because they want to even the playing field. Same with the church. They don't want to teach them all the different rites and histories and give them, books and knowledge of things in the past and where they draw power and all the things that they represent, because they're like, well, they're probably going to the college is going to weasel it out of them eventually, and then what do we have? So they kind of shut them out a little bit, and people that join this council eventually start finding themselves like feeling a bit defenseless, feeling a little bit like how people felt in the past when they didn't have the champions to protect them, but they also didn't have the knowledge of magic to fall back on. So, but they began to develop a bit more technology. So they ended up being... So if you want to separate it, you have like the church, of course, is going to have your supernal divine magic. The college is going to have your primal arcane or eldritch magic. And the council has guns. They all have guns, but like council regions are going to be have been the ones that have focused the most on weapons development, martial arts, that kind of thing, because they needed other ways to fight. So yeah, those are their mission statements. Obviously, on the surface, they all sound good, but I'm sure if you read a little between the lines, you can see ways that those objectives can be used to different ends, right? Like any corporation, all of them have mission statements, and they all sound glowing and amazing and altruistic, and like they're going to make the whole world better, even if all they do is make cheese puffs. And they'll shill out that like, oh yeah, our goal is that everyone can enjoy the blah 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 whatever, and they'll be saying that in one place and laying off 2,000 people in another. Like suddenly,
in this case, laying off may indeed be laying them into the eternal repose of being a servant in a very zombified manner.
Right. But anyway, I've gone over that again, which is fun. Brought to you by Shasta.
Yeah. Our corporate sponsor. From our corporate overlords at Shasta.
Oof. God. We ain't done nothing yet, though, other than rehash things.
Sometimes it's good to, make sure we get the...
Yeah. So... But yeah, I'm gonna do something. Let's figure something out to get us closer to something here. What other mechanics do we need to nail down? Like, we have what? Okay, yeah. Looking at the sheet, what's a character? Core attributes, mind or body, mind, soul. We know how to generate those scores. Mm-hmm. We have heritage. We don't know what those do yet, because those are probably going to involve mechanics we haven't gotten into yet. So that's our first break. Classes. Interesting. Those are going to we got to nail down the main mechanics before we can build the classes out completely. What mechanics are we missing, though? We know our skills, which those will be whittled down over time.
Yeah.
We have our magic skills. We can't do boons and talents yet. And that's kind of the end. Let's look at everything that goes into a character. So I think we need... So yeah, we know what we need for characters, but how do you play, right?
Right.
We know it's going to be core attribute plus skill is how our roles work. We have a very basic idea of how combat works, kind of. But maybe we should start putting some time and energy into that and see where it breaks.
Yeah.
In fact, so let's... Oh, man. I'm trying to think of a good way to do this. I'm going to just save changes on this for now and close it. Let me zoom out on this and let's see. A bit more. Oh, I can't move it anymore. Okay, let's do this. Almost. Wait, why is it like that? Quit being like that. Whatever, that's good enough. Okay. So maybe we run a very brief test and we just kind of talk it through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, did I set measurements on this? I did. These are yards. I don't have any battle music, by the way, guys. This is what it is. I mean, I could put it on the battle music we used for a goat without equal, but I think we'll stick with the vibes.
Yeah,
we'll stick with the vibes.
I like the vibes.
I listen to shit at work all day, and I just don't get tired of it.
It's good, man.
Anyway, so if you couldn't, these block, you see them? Check them out, chat. They're big and squarish, more rectangular, but that's cover. You know, that waist-high cover you just find out in the wilderness. So,
yeah, you know, just wherever it may be.
You know, extra, you know, tall, downed tree, things like that.
Yeah.
Oops. I just wanted to move this into a sensible spot, and I don't think it's going to happen. I can't grab it. Okay, fuck it. Oop. Too far out. There we go. Okay, so what the fuck does this entail? Initiative. How do we start combat?
Shoot somebody
already
with
break it?
No. We do not just shoot
about
people willy-nilly. Yeah, I think we did talk about it a little bit, but oftentimes, obviously, combat is initiated through RP, right? So then we have to have a thing that switches us from RP into combat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of talked about generating an initiative stat similarly, but I don't think we nailed that down in any firm way. We were obviously going to go off of like body stuff, right? I'm pretty sure was what we decided.
Or was it more?
I don't really remember.
Or were we going the awareness route?
Oh, we might have been doing the awareness. Yeah, I don't remember. Or I think what it might have been is we were going to say that the initiative was able to be based off of you could have like a skill isn't the right word. You could have like a feat or a whatever thing that let your initiative be based off of whatever your prime stat you wanted was. Like if there's like you take, you know, awareness, let's say, and then your initiative is based off of like mind because your ability to perceive things, or you take, you know, fleet of whatever, and your ability is then based off of your body reaction time, or you take, you know, like divine guidance or something, right? And then your initiative bonus is off of your soul instead.
I got it. Okay, so one we pick one stat per core attribute that can work as initiative. We basically have three different kinds of initiative rolls you could make, and it depends on the type of encounter.
Okay.
So this is just that base general rule, right? Obviously, there can be talents and things that might alter it where you can use them in more than one situation. But at base, what if we have... So let's say like the body skill is... Oh my god, where'd it go? Okay, so our body skill... Right, so I forgot we made perception body because it's literally your physical senses.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'll say, so perception I think is our basic one for when it's just about how quickly you notice that combat's happening, right?
Yeah.
Or you notice the aggressors,
right?
Which I guess is kind of all of them, but bear with me. Let's say...
Oh, you're playing a druid? You have a bear with you?
Anyway.
Oh, God, man.
So we have perception for body.
Just know I love
for
you,
mind. For mind, I think we could have... hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's actually a super appropriate mind skill. I'm not sure. Extrapolating from clues doesn't work. Lore doesn't super work. I could see in certain situations persuade mattering if it's like literally from conversation into battle, but that seems really like a really weird stretch of it.
Right.
Oof. Man, I don't know. Maybe mine doesn't get one. It's falling apart a little bit. We'll skip mine for now. But
Okay.
I think the other one could be, excuse me, unnatural.
Okay.
Literally, like, if the encounter is against something unnatural, it's based on if you can detect them, right? Because remember, we were going to use that skill as also a way of literally a sixth sense for shit that shouldn't be there.
Right.
That it's not just based on how well you can see them. So maybe it's between those two as default.
Yeah.
Unnatural one.
Yeah.
And then we can even have, like, I mean, obviously the narrator is going to. We could say that it's literally like a thing that it's open. You can make it a different check for initiative.
Right.
But initiative is essentially a skill check of some kind. But those are the two base ones.
Yeah.
What's this? It was good.
Fire,
Right,
that's what it is. I was going to say fire.
it just needs a beat drop. No, but hey. Anyway.
There goes. There goes.
Anyway, I gotta stop grooving. I gotta remember what I was doing. Okay, but yeah, I'd say, like, maybe those as our general rules, either perception or unnatural.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see, like, vibe check / sense motive being it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we don't necessarily need a one pinned down initiative. We just have our suggestion, and then if people want to make it a different skill check, that's up to them.
Right.
It should obviously just be a matter of how quickly do you get to act before everyone else or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
okay, so let's go with that for now.
Okay.
Let's say it's
I like
let's go
it.
with perception as our general baseline. I believe Pathfinder 2E uses perception as initiative anyway, so there's some precedent for it.
Cool.
So between our two peoples down here, let's get the names. Luke 1. Save. Ooh. And you know, while I'm thinking about it, let me add. Storm. Load, damn you, load. Damn you, transmogrifier. What other game is Roll a Thing 2.0 in? Is it in Thursday game?
I think it is in Thursday game. I know Roll a Thing 1 is. I was just trying to remember if Roll a Thing 2.0 is.
2.0 is.
Okay.
It should be over here now. There it is, Roll a Thing 2.0. Okay, so I guess we roll initiative. I will be. We'll grab Mook 1 here.
All right.
And Mook 2.
Mine and Mook 2.
Okay, so if we're going initiative, let's just go off everything average, right? So
Yeah.
everything, I think we can decide average is 2. So they're going to have body 2, right? And if we're level 1 people or whatever, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
we still have to determine. We have to nail down exactly how we want to do skill ranks. I had an interesting idea the other day, but we can get to that afterward.
Okay.
We'll just say for now they have 1 boop, of some kind in their perception, right? Which would mean that we're each rolling 3d10.
Okay.
And I can't remember how you. There's a way to roll to count successes, but we don't need to worry about it right this second. We just need to see
So
which
we're on
ones.
3.
We decided difficulty 6 or 7
10.
is a success.
I don't know. And there's no bonuses, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there we go. There's
So
my roll.
You got no successes.
Yep.
And a 1.
Yep. And a 1.
Also got no successes, but no 1.
Yeah.
I think I'm good with counting that. Like in this situation, if somebody rolled a 1 or whatever, they obviously are lower, or maybe we just add it up, right?
Yeah.
If it's like you first count successes, and then when you look at ties, it's like you add it up. So we'll say Mook 1 is going first. Put him at, I don't know, 3.
I think we had tiebreakers, because I remember we went through this, by the way. Like we had tiebreakers for no successes or same amount of successes. We went like major successes, like if you had any like critical success, let's say, like that was the top tiebreaker. Then it was critical fails were the next tiebreaker, like, and then it was total number on the die. I want to say like total number rolled was the final tiebreaker. Because we had like multi-level tiebreakers and we talked about this. Which
I believe technically your roll, because I think we're going pretty much on botch rules, where if you fail and roll a 1, that's how you crit fail. Mm-hmm. So I guess technically yours was a crit fail. So in this case, it balances out. I don't think we have to make it mean anything in particular when you crit fail on your initiative or whatever, but
right.
Cool. So we got past that. We know the turn order. I'll just put it at 2 and 1 just because. Why not? Because it has to go by. Well, you know, it doesn't. It doesn't have to go. We can put it in ascending order. Anyway. All right. So Mook 1 is trying to kill Mook 2. We assume he has a gun, and that gun can shoot at least 17 yards.
Yeah. Reasonable assumptions, I feel.
I fucking hope so.
What powers the gun? It is depending on that. Gunpowder?
Yes. What gun would he be using, Panda?
I mean,
World War One.
This is World War One tech.
Yeah.
And this is is he part of the military? Is he?
Just pick a gun from 19 something, man.
I'm good. I'm okay with him being semantic about it.
I was like, it depends on what kind of gun he would be using. Because in theory, like if you're somebody living way out in the country or something like that, you could still be using like a black powder rifle or something like that, you know, for hunting or whatever. You never know.
I mean,
we'll stick with military grade for now, just because. Don't know.
He will be using a sharp single shot rifle.
So we'll definitely hit from this far easy.
Yep.
Cool. So for his attack, obviously we know he's in range, so he has to first be on target. His attack rolls are still going to be body, plus his weapon proficiency, essentially. How many ranks he has in long arms, which will be 1, just for the sake of ease. And then, you know, let's start off not in cover, just to make it interesting.
Okay.
So yeah, his first shot is just he's gonna take a shot at you out in the open. Like, God damn it! You stole my chickens again. So that is a similar roll, I think, as before. Body 2.
I'm trying to make a chicken golem. Anyways,
you drawing something? Are you drawing something?
No, I just because you said take a chickens, I now think I might try and make a chicken golem in paint because I can.
Yikes!
Oh,
Okay.
I'm gonna make a terrible choice with my life, and I'm gonna Google chicken golem.
So I don't remember what our how we determine how hard it is to hit someone. I think it was what average would it be? Average difficulty.
You get
think
Minecraft stuff.
I don't remember either. Yes, you do get Minecraft stuff.
Well, let's reason it out. Do the chicken golem later. I'm asking questions.
I am doing the chicken golem later. I just wanted to look and see what I got.
as you do chicken golem.
I closed it.
Chicken golem sounds like when you say "do the chicken golem," sounds like a dance.
It does,
I'm laughing because that
another
scenario
time.
sounds like something your daughter would have done.
Yes.
Do that later as she's doing it. It's like I am doing it later. Like, no, you're not.
that is 1,000% a conversation I've had with her.
Even
I
though
guarantee
I believe
you.
that you had stopped it, but that's what crossed my mind. Anyway,
Yes.
so I don't know. on our tier of fuck, where are all of the notes? Where did they go, Dave? I know I put this somewhere. Hold on. Back.
I don't know, but
I have stuff for combat.
as soon as we do whatever this attack is, I do have to piece, and it's break time. So
Yeah,
as soon as
I
we
guess.
get through this.
Is it
But yeah,
break
we can
down?
get through this thing real quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As soon as we do this right now, then we'll. That's a good breaking point. I want to say. I just wanted to
Did I
mention
put
it
it
now.
under condition Aegis, and it probably is under there. Hold on. Aegis. I did not put it under there. For fuck's sake.
Let's
I
just
know I
go
made
with
a
it's an
little
average
combat
difficulty
deal.
to make this shot right now, just to
Yeah.
test it.
Which
So that's what we're
average
doing.
was 2 successes?
2 successes, I believe. We have that somewhere. I know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find. Is I know it's in here. Oh shit! It's at the bottom of talking points. Oh wow!
Oh, okay,
all
there
this
we go.
stuff is in here. Holy shit! That whole combat breakdown is in here. It was just further down than I thought it was.
Ah, yeah.
it's been here
far
the
down.
whole time.
It's been
I'm
here
dumb.
the whole time. I also
I'm
didn't see.
fucking
I
dumb.
stopped at when we got to stream 5 and it's all blank.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's the end of it. No, there's a whole
You have-
bunch more under there.
you have a better excuse because you didn't make it. So,
That's true.
So yeah, okay. Average is 2 successes, which that's a 10. 10 is 2 successes, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
an 8 is also successes. 3 successes. So I guess here's the next question: do we do anything for extra successes? Does it like add damage? Does it? Do we want to have some whole extra complicated thing where you can like stock extra successes as bonuses to get some other thing later,
I think I would
like in Fantasy
I
Flight
would-
Star Wars?
rather it be easier. Yeah, no, I would rather be easier and just add damage. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you get like for each success above, you get, you know, half your body modifier or whatever added
Mhm.
to it. And since the average is 2, that's just basically normally adding 1 damage. But if your body's higher, it's going to be more, obviously, right?
Or
do
just
half
say-
round it
or
up.
We'll just make it flat. We just be like,
Flat-
hey, every
flat's
extra
fine, too.
success is an extra damage because
Yeah,
that's
sure.
still a lot, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So-
And extra damage is a lot. So
Okay, so he's on target. Right, I know we talked about this too. So
well, and then
you have
hold
a
on,
choice
sorry.
here.
That also then means we could create a feat that says instead of doing just 1 flat, you get to add like you know half
yeah.
your body rounded up, and so that gives us room to give dials and stuff that we can tweak for character.
Yeah,
classes,
that gives
so.
us some room to play with that.
Yeah,
But so I think we talked about this last time too. Even though you're out in the open, Mook 2 would have the option of just like dropping prone, right?
in this
I guess the
combat
question is-
scenario, I'm gonna not take that because I want to be able to find cover next turn, or because my Aegis is still in place, right? So I feel like
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
at
still
least
use the
confident.
Aegis.
Right, so I feel
regardless.
like I'm confident that my Aegis can take 1 shot before I can then find myself cover or do whatever. So I feel like dropping prone tactically would not be the best decision right now.
Yeah, probably not. Okay, so I'm on target. That means because you can't take any kind of dodge action or anything right now, otherwise that's just gonna hit.
Yep.
So, which I think for like basically a rifle, we'll probably say it does this D8 lethal hitting Aegis is going to do D10
Okay, sounds good.
of stamina.
Yep.
Okay, that's 8 stamina
Okay.
as a body 2. How much would you have? You would have Hopefully this isn't too boring for the rest of you. But
this is the process, though.
This is the process, man.
Action. And yeah,
I'm looking in the wrong sheet. That's the problem. HP. So you take up 1 space. Mm-hmm. So you have base 2 times your level 1. So it's 2. Plus body is 2. So you have 4 hit points, which means you have 8 stamina. So that's going to wipe the first ream of stamina.
Yep.
So at that point, you can choose to drop on the condition tracker, which absolutely, because you're still at your easy one where you don't take penalties.
Yep.
The other choice is to take your base in damage, which is 2 points of damage, which would be real bad.
Yeah.
So drop one down the condition tracker.
Yep. Dropped from prime to neutral. So yeah.
Exactly. And then Aegis, we'll assume Aegis are like 2-1-1, right? So maybe you can take one more shot before it disrupts. Cool. So we handled that. That was we do. It's two actions reaction is our action economy. So that was one. His other one is going to be to move behind cover.
Okay.
Since he sees you also scavenged an Aegis out of the garbage and are wearing it, so you didn't die like he hoped.
Yeah.
So he gets partially behind cover here. Which would make him whatever that next highest difficulty is. Challenging. In here somewhere. It ain't in here. I don't know. It's somewhere, but either way, it takes 3 successes to hit him for now.
Yeah.
And so we finish that attack, and we can come back to yours after we take our break.
Yes, I do. Okay. I do indeed. All right.
So we will be back in 5. Panda, do you need a break?
Yeah, I'll take a break.
All right. Away! To show screen. Oh, we are back. Well, Panda's not back, but Panda will be back.
Nope, there he
is.
Speak of the panda.
He's making food. You're muted also, Panda. I muted you because you were away. So. Oh, it's still muted. Weird.
Let me out. No.
Panda, unmute Panda.
Oh,
weird.
Lord.
Panda, unmute.
This is when the thing.
There it goes.
This is when the thing that lives under his bed comes to get him right when he's muted.
Oh, God. No.
Oh.
No, I love that it popped up. It's like, oh, the host is trying to unmute you. Mute or unmute? It's like, stay muted.
Anyway. He's turned into a mime.
No, we're not fusing any more things with Mr. Mime, JD. Stop!
I'll do it.
I decline.
Mr. Mime.
No.
Dave over there just mashing B buttons.
Yeah. I just leave. Bye. Just run away. Yeah.
Mr. Mime. Mime, Mr.
No.
Okay. So we're back, which means it's Mook 2's turn. Mook 2, aka Dave.
Number 2.
So, quick clarifying question. Am I a melee person or a shooty person?
We could say we both have. You probably got a gun and like a knife or something on you, right?
Okay.
So you have a gun.
Also, how many yards did we decide standard move was?
Hold on.
Because I want to say we came up with that. I don't remember where it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's in here somewhere. I remember talking to you about it. I just don't know if it got written down. It's based on your body score, though. Yeah, excuse me. Talking points, move. Okay, I'm just gonna start doing this thing where I search in all the documents for things. Jotting thoughts down. What is this? There it is. I have a sheet where I just jotted down my thoughts and then I forgot it existed.
Funks.
Your movement is your body score times 5.
Okay. So I have 2 body, so 10.
Yes.
Okay. So if we use a snap here, so I can go like way on the other side of cover, but I don't have enough to make it to you if I wanted to like run up and attack.
Right.
But I could run up still because I could use both of my actions to move.
Exactly.
If I wanted to. Okay. Just I am
You fucking imagine that? Like, you fucking shoot a guy because ah! Just runs at you.
I mean, if he's using a single shot rifle,
now is the time, yeah.
that is like. Also, he may not be expecting that, so you don't know how skilled he is and stuff like that.
Especially if it's like a muzzle loader, though. Like, this isn't. But if it was a muzzle loader, you just like sprint at him as hard as you can.
It's just like the flinch, like ripple of air. Oh fuck! He got one too. So yeah, you could run at him.
I am going to try and take a shot now, though, because if I move behind cover as well, you're going to be more obscured from me than if I shoot in the open and then move behind cover. So I think now is when I want to take the shot. So I get 3d10, right? But I need 3 successes, right?
Yes. Or yeah, right now you need 3 successes. You can also aim. It just means that that's going to use up an action you probably don't want to use up right now.
Because I want to shoot and then move. So I'm not. I don't want to waste an action on aiming. I say waste. I don't want to use an action on aiming.
Yeah.
So I get my 3d10. I am rolling with no bonus, and I have 0 successes because I roll like me.
Yeah. True.
And then I will take my move to move all the way behind this cover like that.
And get over there behind the cover. Nice.
One more. There we go. I want to be on the edge of the cover. There we go.
Okay. So from here, let's just run around this way. I can tell already, like, this is going to get really boring really quick. So let's just run it through so we just know what it looks like. And then we'll figure out ways, like, how does this get a little more interesting, even with the basic rules. Right?
Right.
Because what I'm thinking here is, like, we may need to, like, incorporate stuff of where, like, you can lose line of sight of people. Like, when you just ran behind cover, I don't necessarily know what square you're in there, right? But for now, just for the sake of simplicity, let's just roll with it as is. I can see that you moved over there, so I'm going to use one of my actions to shoot or to aim, which will give me, I think we'll just have it where it just gives you an extra die right now. And then my other one to shoot at you, it's gonna be I need 3 successes to hit you. I get 4 dice.
Right.
I only got 2 successes, so it didn't quite hit you. So it's aim and shoot. I am out of actions. Which means it is back to you.
Aim, shot, and ran into action. So I think now is when I want to do where I'm going to use our snap tool here. So if I run like, let's see, I can cover. So okay, so I have to run one out. Gotta use the Q. Yeah. Oops. That is not the Q. That is an A. There we go.
There.
Okay, and I want to run there though because I still want to be obscured from you. All those. Anyways, I'm gonna. Yeah. Okay. I've decided. I am going to actually just run right here because I want to put myself right on the other side of the cover from you.
Okay.
As much on the other side as I can be. So.
God damn it, get off my property!
Yeah.
So that's your 2 actions. Just close the distance. Okay. He's Luke 1. Doesn't like this. But he wants his gun to protect him, so he's going to just take another shot at you. Aim and shoot. I'm going to just keep it simple on this. I'll just let you go off on your turns there. Still only got 2 successes, and you do still have cover, technically. So, glad I got the successes, otherwise it's a crit fail, which is bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 successes, not enough to hit you. So you're able to hunker down, get out of the way. That's my full turns. Back to you. I still have my cycling the thing.
So now I can... Okay, that's 5 yards, so yeah. I can easily make that my move. So then we move there, and then... I am going to do... So, okay, hold on. I can't remember if it's an action to draw, right? Draw a weapon.
Yeah, we didn't really say. I'd say like you can probably. I'd say we can probably say it's like we can either do. We're either doing Pathfinder rules.
Yeah.
Where you can do it as part of a move. Or...
Well, I mean, sure, part of a move makes sense. I was gonna say, but then I was gonna say on the previous turn, as part of my move, I would have let go of the rifle because I'm not using that anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
Unless the rifle has a bayonet on it, in which case I'm bayoneting.
Right.
The proper time period for bayonets. So.
It is the proper time period of affix bayonets.
Yeah.
Which I guess you would have probably had to affix it.
Yeah.
Which would be something, because that is...
Yeah, that's going to be...
I'd say that could easily be part of the move, though, is to affix a bayonet, because you can run and put a bayonet on something. But if we're using move as draw a weapon, then I'm drawing a weapon and I'm putting it on, so... Either way, it's going to be a thrusting weapon here, so it's a D8 lethal, right? So...
yeah.
So what...
Yeah. So you got to hit. You got to try to hit me first.
Yeah, I got to roll the hit first, yep.
So that'll be body plus... We'll suit's probably the same roll, right?
Yeah, so it's 3. Yep, 3 10s. No bonuses. There we go. Typical roll. I did not get any successes. So.
Still no successes. Okay. Actually, so here's the thing. We're kind of getting into the a little bit of the weeds of phases here. Should we get a little bit granular where we go declare, roll, right? So you declare what you're doing, and then I have to declare if I'm doing a defense or not before you roll, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's a bit more fair, because otherwise it's like, oh, I don't have to dodge that, you know? Whereas when you're coming up at me, I get to choose, okay, am I going to use the dodge on this or not? Like once you've got everything set up, whether you've got other bonuses you're going to add onto it, once we know what you're going to roll, that's probably when I should have to declare whether I'm going to do a defensive action.
Makes sense. My other question to you then too is on declaring things. Are we going to do for turns? Do we declare each individual action, like declare an action, take the action, declare an action, take the action, or at the start of turn do you have to declare both actions?
That is also a good, because we did talk about that too.
Because we had never came to a decision on that one because we had been like, oh, which of these two do we want to do? So
yeah, because I do really like that. Oh, I think I remember what it was. Is if you, oh god, how did we put this? It was like, that's right. If you don't declare both actions, you don't have a reaction. Basically, your reaction is used up if you try to keep everything flexible.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
So you can forego having a reaction to like not have to declare everything at once. Because you're kind of using it to adjust to the situation.
Right.
So yeah, on my turn, in my case, it'd be like, okay, I'm declaring that I will aim and shoot at you. Yeah, those are the two things I'm doing.
On my turn, I declared that I'm moving and attacking.
So we both would have reactions. So I'd be using my reaction. I probably would have used my reaction here to burn my dodge. Since it's one-on-one, it doesn't matter that much, because then I only get 1 per round of each defensive action. But I probably would have still burned it. And then you rolled, missed. It's a wash. So then it comes back to my turn.
Which also comes into, this is the thing we're going to figure out in testing. If that works, if we like those better. Like, obviously, this is the thing that playtesting is going to be for. And then whether you can declare reactions before or after dice are rolled. We're on the side of before.
Yes.
But again, this is a thing that is fluid and subject to change. Stuff that's going to come up with playtesting. But right now, how we're having it set is like this. Like so.
And for the posterity, I'm going to speak for both of us. You just correct me if I'm mischaracterizing you. The reason that we're on the side of declaring before the roll is because it feeds more into the kind of risk reward. It makes it a more meaningful decision versus it becomes less of an important decision if you can just wait to see if they are on target or not.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And it also makes less sense. Like you're not. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So it rolls back over to Mook 1. You swing at him with a knife or stab at him with a bayonet. He's gonna panic swing at you with the butt of his rifle. And same dice, so he's only getting... Is there an aim? Can we take an aim action with a melee weapon?
I don't know.
Maybe not.
Probably not, because if you're in melee range, a lot of times you just get to hit twice. I don't know.
Right, that's true. Usually don't have to do anything else really.
You swing.
So yeah, he's gonna take a couple of swings at you with the butt of the rifle here. Both get 3 dice. 10 plus nothing. That's the botchiest botch I've ever botched.
That's pretty bad.
Okay, cool. So we get to discuss this. How do we handle critical fails like this? Do we just leave it open and just say, hey, something bad should happen with list of suggestions for if it's an attack roll, that kind of thing? Or do we give some mechanical specifics?
I'm obviously a fan in general of letting our storyteller decide what happens just because it's TTRPG, it's whatever. But since we are trying to make this more of a beginner-friendly thing, I think maybe putting down a mechanical precedent is also good, which is a super wishy-washy answer. But I want to say this right now. Why don't we go with, let's set up something that we think is mechanically good right now. We test with that. If we don't like it, then we give the freedom back as fully, and obviously we put in there this is our mechanical thing. Ultimately it's still a suggestion because rule 0 is the game master's in control, and so it is one of those things that's it's like an optional rule in the sense that you can come up with your own failures if you like. This is the one we use, this is the traditional whatever statistical failure thing. So for shorts right now, we could just say you drop down. One of the things you can do is you could give them choices like we do where when you take the stamina damage, right? You can choose to drop down a thing on your stamina, or you can choose to be disarmed.
Okay. Those as the typical. So I like that, but also, it does sound like we're really making this a suggestion, which is kind of where I was going to land anyway. Okay. Literally not calling it a hard mechanic and saying and just going hey, here's some things, here's some suggestions for weapon rolls. Here's some suggestions for, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I guess it is a suggestion, but I want to say it's more of a aggressive suggestion where it's this is the easiest way to do it while still keeping thematic. And so it's a suggestion, but it's also it's like the quick start rules. When you have quick start rules where they have a bunch of suggestion things in there, but that's how you play it. So I want to say that's kind of what it is. Hey, these are the quick start almost rules. They are ultimately suggestions though.
So we can do a bit of a mix of the two. We can leave the ultimate fumble as okay. Here's a list of things that make sense to us. Do your own, but we can also add mechanics such as on a critical fumble you can choose to drop down the condition tracker instead of taking the extra fumble, right? It doesn't mean you hit, but you could be okay, let's say your narrator offers in this case. All right, so you fumbled the shit out of swinging with your rifle. Bro, we all know what that means. You're flinging that rifle across the field. You frisbeed that bitch 30 feet, and it may be damaged. You just overswung really hard. It's that, or you can drop down one of the condition tracker because you just could overswing. Yeah, it's the Mandalorian.
Okay. I love that you knew what I was about to ask. What I was looking at. Look, nothing else has that like bass clarinet thing in it. All right.
Yeah, I did the same thing whenever I first heard it while I was at work. I was like, the fuck? What? Like, look at her. Like, oh, it's a Mandalorian theme, because that's why it's familiar. Even though I haven't watched that show, I've still heard the theme.
Oh, it's a fantastic show. Highly recommend.
But yeah, it's like, okay, look, you have the choice of this thing, or you can drop down one of the condition tracker and not fling your rifle halfway across the field. Maybe that's the mechanic, is that you always have that choice instead. Just drop down one. And I'm cool with that, because it still gives the player a choice, a way to kind of save themselves. But it's tough, especially if you're not already at the top. In this case, since I'm in prime condition, I'm going to take the drop off the condition tracker instead of flinging my rifle. But I don't know, man. There's a part of me that it's more interesting to throw it, but like, or maybe it's a bargaining thing, right? Maybe you
I would
maybe
also
you go,
say,
look,
in this instance, since you swung with your rifle, which is you were using like an improvised weapon, you lose the rifle, that's fine. Now you draw a knife. Now you've got a real weapon. So in this case, it's necessarily like, so on your next turn, you just actually draw the melee weapon. So it's less of a punishment in this one case, because it's one-on-one especially. But so like, I don't know. Yeah, this is a tactical thing too. This is why I like this as well, because it gives you player decision. I love when you give people options, and sometimes the bad option is actually advantageous.
True.
Depending on the
situation.
situation.
That also gives me a thing. Maybe fumbles are always it's always a not a haggle, but a choice. Maybe the narrator is supposed to offer you, okay, you have the big fumble.
I like that, yeah.
Or you have drop down and take a much lesser fumble.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that.
So in this case, it'd be like, okay, if you drop down the condition tracker, instead of throwing your rifle, you just like kind of lose your grip on it a little bit. You keep a handle on it, but you're not gonna be able to swing it again. That the penalty is you can't use it for that second attack. And then it's like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna pick this one, right? In this case, it's also more interesting if I fucking fling the rifle, because I double one. So the rifle goes away. Rifle. I'm sure I can find gotta be a picture or something. I can use. It's all look way too fucking modern. I'm getting picky for no reason. Just grab one and put it over there.
While you did that, Ellie said that she likes the narrator versus DM, imagining a sports commentator's type of storytelling, and all I can think of, because I played Blood Bowl for a long time, is Jim and Bob doing like, he really took a whiff on that one. Yeah, threw his rifle all the way across the field. Like, let's see where he goes with this, though. Maybe it's a good decision. It's just like, just the funny, like, two guys going back and forth, or the always classic, like, like, soccer commentator, just like, instead of yelling goal at the top of their lung, it's like a headshot. But just drawing it as long as you can. You're like, headshot. Oh, the balcony Muppets would be also fantastic. The balcony Muppets, the two old, like, grumpy dudes whose names I can't remember from the Muppets, who just comment on literally everything in the most negative way they can.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. All right, so fling that shit over, like, woof, there it goes. I could no longer take the second swing that I'd planned. That's what it was. I had to burn. You have to burn your reaction to pain. That's what it was.
Statler and
you still have to declare both. You can burn your reaction to change your actions.
Okay, yeah.
So I have to eat up my reaction to change what I'm doing, which will be to draw my knife, my hunting knife. Which in this case, I think that just has to eat my other action. Because I can't like draw an attack that's more actions than I have. So
Right.
Cool.
Unless you had like a quick draw like ability,
kind of
which
ability,
we're saying
yeah.
we don't right now because we're level 1 and we're trying to keep this basic.
Ugh, shit. Draw a fucking knife. It's your turn.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to declare that I'm going to make 2 melee attacks with my bayonet, essentially.
Okay. I have no reaction. I cannot take a defensive action. So you get to make both of yours.
So, 3 dice. They are d10s. I don't get a bonus. Hey, there's 2 successes in there, right? 6 is a success?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're going on 6
right?
because of the lower
That's
stats.
what I was trying to say. We're going on 6, yeah.
So that's 2. That's definitely a hit. I'm not looking at the sheet that has the damages. So
I will grab it. It is D8 lethal, D10 stamina. So
okay. And I believe for melee weapons, you take both of those.
Okay.
They should do lethal and stamina. So give me a D6 and a D8. You might just fucking kill me.
So the
So that's
D8
the stamina.
right there is the D8's the lethal because it was D8 because this is a thrusting weapon, right?
Oh, yeah, you're using a bayonet, not a knife, right? Because
Yeah,
they
yeah,
call
it's
it
a
knife of
bayonet.
finesse.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah, but this is a bayonet. If I had the bayonet not attached to the rifle, it's a finesse weapon, but attached to the rifle, it's a. So that's the lethal, and then
Okay.
this is the stamina is a D10.
So I'm probably saying we're assuming these guys are probably not wearing any kind of armor, so I just take that.
Yeah.
4 is my hit points. So in this case, that would have to. I'm kind of assuming we're playing like NPCs, so we won't necessarily get into peril counters and stuff here. Because here I would burn a peril counter for sure.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
otherwise I'm fucked. But I think it's safe to say I'm just fucked. You fucking bayonet me.
Ah, bayonet charge.
He fucking goes down. Drops. So he hits 0, which means he immediately drops in the condition tracker. 1.
Yep.
You still have a second attack. You declared both.
I'm not burning my reaction, so I might as well just stab.
Can't do that. So yeah, you try to finish him off here. I mean, I think at this point he's incapacitated. Yeah. So as long as you don't botch it, I think you hit. This would be what we
still
call
3
it,
though, right? Still 3
you're
dice.
still rolling 3 dice, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm just making sure. Yep, I botched it.
You did botch it. Okay. So, all right. So you stab him, he goes down. You just fucking miss, but it doesn't really matter. He can't do anything.
I'm gonna say that if I had to choose a failure, it would be to lose my weapon. So it would be to stab it into the ground, and like when I go, I just miss, and it sticks right in the ground, and then I just like I'm like, oh shit! So the rifle's like sticking out of the ground, like next to him.
Right.
Like, oh
no. But yeah. So Mook 2 wins. Mortal Kombat successful. For if these were like actual player characters and such, I would have been like burning a peril counter there. We'd probably describe how I get the fuck out of the way or what happenstance causes me to not get impaled. But in this case, nah. He just gets waxed. X. Okay, so we got some basic movements down here, right? So I mean, yeah, just for that stuff without any of the relatively more complicated things, that holds up. We got through an encounter between 2 people. It went one way or the other. Somebody was gonna get hurt real bad and then die. But because you're using a melee weapon, the E just doesn't come into effect. So
yeah.
it was the quickest way to the end of the combat there. Let's see, but if we let's think about let's try to just kind of think about what we just went through with some of the optional rules. I wouldn't call it optional rules, just stuff that I thought about while I was running the other one. Let me go find the previous thing real quick. You say what?
I need to blow my nose. There's something
Oh.
just itchy, like tickle in my nose, and I'm either gonna sneeze like crazy in a second, or I need to blow my nose. So. Somewhere. Oh, let me mute myself so people don't have to hear me blow my nose.
No. I'm not even looking at chat, so I hope nobody. No. But I'm hydrated anyway because I'm thirsty. Okay. So one of the other things I thought of, ammo. Where did I put it? So timing wise, where was mine? Jotting down thoughts. So each round, obviously we're still looking at placeholders, but I'm looking at each round is 10 seconds, right? Each square 1 yard. I did also make maps so that we can have like different distances, different ranges.
Right.
So for example, if we were at mid-range, we're looking at each mid-range would be each square is 10 yards.
Okay.
And then of course long range, I didn't even put people on it, but each square is 50 yards. Where we're actually getting into more upper limits of like firearm effective distance.
Oh yeah.
But either way, we're still looking at short for now. No big deal.
Because 400 yards with an old rifle is a hell of a shot. It is massively impressive.
Yeah. I think I've heard this song several times. I've never heard this part. Anyway, brain. 10 seconds. So, I was thinking firearms would have a rating that determines how much ammo is expended whenever you attack with it, as like a dice value. So over the course of 10 seconds, this is how much ammo you fired, right? Because ammunition. This is a game where, like, since firearms are so prevalent, ammunition does have to be accounted for. We can't just have everybody have infinite ammo.
Right. Can't just be hunking it up over here.
Right. It doesn't have to be, like, super... I guess we don't have to get, like, incredibly granular, right? But, basically, I just figured it'd be a die roll. Like, so... I don't... My problem is, like, I don't know guns as well, so I don't know what kind of makes sense there. Like, Panda, what rifle did you say that I was using in that?
Sharps, single shot.
Single
like
shot.
A sharp
okay,
short,
so...
yeah.
So, 10 seconds, how many rounds do you think that's going to get off if you're just, like, going?
Oh, man. Somebody who's trained in it?
Mm-hmm.
See,
so, yeah, not talking like an expert marksman. We're just saying, like, someone who knows how to use the rifle.
Let me look that up. I'll do a quick Google.
Quick maths. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what I was thinking of doing for most of them. Is just like we look at like sort of the upper limit and round it down to the appropriate die.
You're maybe getting 2 because it's 8 to 10 shots per minute on average is the rate of fire. So yeah, if you're lucky, you're getting 2. Like if you're really good, I should say you're getting 2, and because even then that's not reasonable.
And Patty said that matched what you found too. We got 2 points of reference. Okay. So for that rifle, we'd be looking at we probably just set that one as 1 round. We don't even make it a die roll. It's just you spend 1 round per shot. But there would be things where you can shoot them a bit faster, that it might be a D3, D4, D6, right? And you just roll that every time you fire to see how much ammo you're expending.
Yeah.
Because in theory, like the weird tidbit about that one specifically was like you would open up the chamber, load a round, close the chamber, cock the hammer back, fire, then open the chamber, take the round out, put the new one in, and do that. You get things like there's other versions that are single shot rifles. That, for example, when you open the breach, it is also cocking the hammer, or cocking the hammer is opening the breach, and stuff like that. So, for example, a rolling block rifle, which is very similar time period, is getting 13 rounds a minute. So a slight increase, but anything is better than, better than the 1 round per minute of somebody untrained using a muzzle loader.
Yeah, which I guess brings up another question: how should we do reloading? Reloading is an action. Do we put it in weapon stats? Do we?
I was going to say, I think we put it in weapon stats. I think each weapon has what it requires to reload. Because there are some weapons that are going to be able to reload as an action. There are some weapons that are like you could probably use your reaction to reload them. Because if they're like magazine fed and you're quick with it, that's not a long time, right? Like a magazine fed pistol, let's just say, because that's something that would be available, like the 1911. It's a great example of that. You can reload that thing fast. So you could probably burn your reaction to reload that. Whereas if you had something that required you to manually feed rounds into it, that's a whole action. And then if you have something that is a long thing, especially something breach loading, anything like that, that's 2. Like that's your turn.
Yeah. Well, I would like to throw in things like these might be stationary weapons, like think like a ballista, like light machine guns or emplacement weapons. Would take a minute to reload. Gun. Yeah, things like that because of put the belt on, take the belt out, and put it on. There's a lot of steps to processes and trying to add that in. Now, mind you, things with light machine guns is like you're going to be, if it's 100-round belt, in theory, you're shooting this entire fight.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's something that we'd have to come to a example. Like, okay, let's do a theoretical. We're defending this fort, or something like this. How do we do that? And then like to say let's do a test fight, and say one guy's using a light machine gun and see how well it does during that fight. Then we can nerf buff as see fit, probably.
Yeah, that's fair. That's good. That's good to know. So I think if we try to just translate into mechanics, we measure reload time in actions, right? So, and I would be kind of partial to making the reaction reload either like a talent or a boon or something, like something you take, right? Because that does take a bit more training to even just be that quick with it. Or maybe it's a thing that we put in the, like, maybe we add things to like the firearm statistics where it's like once you have so many ranks in it, that seems more complicated than it needs to be. We'll just put it in the thing and then people can take feats to lower it. But anyway, we measure it in actions, as I think the easiest way to do it. Because if we kind of try to break this down, 10 seconds, each action is roughly 4 to 5 seconds, of potential activity.
If we're 10-second rounds, each action, that makes sense. And that seems appropriate time for an average person to reload something, even with a magazine. Like I've sat around and done it a lot, and I haven't timed myself, but it's still gonna only be a fraction of that time. It's not like I'm gonna be able to do it in like a quarter of a second. I don't know. I haven't timed myself, but it's still gonna be within that window of time, especially if you run dry and you have to like rack the slide or whatever, right?
Yeah,
stuff happens.
So I think the simple answers will measure it in actions. So if we were to run that back in the case of the God damn it, Panda, what's the rifle called again?
Sharps. You know what I was trying to find out? Because I knew the Sharps was used in Argentina and Colombia and stuff. I was trying to figure out if Simon Bolivar had ever used the Sharps, but the timelines don't add up because I forgot when the Sharps were made, but they were the 1840s.
Yeah, I believe Sharps were originally black powder rifles that were like it was a mid-transition. It was very much designed like a black powder rifle.
Yeah.
But for cartridges.
Yep.
So in the case of that, if we were to run that back, the Sharps single loader would have been... I wouldn't have been able to fire it as often. Right? I wouldn't have been able to go boom, boom, because it would have been the way at least I played it was one without aiming, took a shot, moved. I would have had to reload it with an action, and then aim again if I wanted to aim.
Yeah.
I will
say fire without like the actual
so
aim and everything.
This comes to another thing because we had talked about this, and I don't know how we want to do this. We can set where we do reactions like using your reaction like how you would use a held action and other things. So it's like, let's say you use reload as my action, aim as my action. I'm gonna use my reaction. If anything walks in front of me, I'm gonna shoot it. But then that burns like my action from the next turn. Or I forget how we worked on that, because then that takes one of my actions away. Or it takes my reaction from the next turn as well, or something like that, right? Because
something like that.
Yeah,
we might leave that to leave that to a talent or something though.
Yeah, we hadn't. Yeah,
because that would be good. But we don't. I don't know if we want that as everyone can do this, right?
Right.
I will state
there
I
should
gave
be
you
something for it. Go ahead.
a pretty old gun because that gun came out just at the tail end of the Civil War, so it's.
The Sharp single action came out in like 1848. It came out before the Civil War.
That's fine.
Yeah. Well, it was prominent.
It was used until 1881, man.
Prominent use. It says during and at the end of. So.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of some farmer guy.
Yeah.
Some farmer guy or something. He's not gonna go upgrade his rifle every year. It's probably something that he's had, or something. But yes.
And now, now he's either going to be murdered in the field or
by a man who wanted to steal his chickens to make a chicken golem. Anyway,
sounds about right. So, but no, we're gonna need a fairly wide range of firearms. Probably have to rename them because it's not Earth, and also copyrighting crap. We'll need a decent range of designs to represent obviously different regions and things. Like if these people were in any of the like college cities, for example, or on those outskirts in those regions, they're not gonna have the most like modern shit. Hell, the military people coming out of there rarely do have the most up to date equipment.
I would say too, it would make a lot of sense specifically
stuff.
for the college as well, because we were talking about using like infused rounds, like humor infused rounds, that you would want things that you have access to each round. You wouldn't want magazine systems anyways. So they would prefer, they would look for those kind of things because they're going to take a color infused round and they want to single load that in. If it's a rifle or like a shotgun, again, you're going to want something with that pump to where you can manually load the single round you need, or break action or whatever, right?
Which, I mean, it's perfectly within the purview of the college to try to like reverse engineer a bunch of this stuff, and they probably know how to make these things. They don't have the infrastructure, right?
Right. That is also true.
That's probably the business deal between those two. Is college provides humor infused rounds. Council provides maybe some better weaponry. But anyway,
and no, that does not mean you get to write puns on the bullets or the cartridges because it said humor infused rounds.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're slipping. You're getting tired. I can tell.
So.
I looked over at the camera and I realized my hair was doing something crazy.
We will need a decent range of stuff. Some old stuff, some stuff that may be a little bit ahead of the era, just a little bit.
Totally,
if that's possible.
Makes sense. Obviously, because we're using this as an inspiration. We're not sticking to a specific guideline. It's not like we're doing an alternate history here. We're trying to just draw from a socio and political climate that resembles, I don't even want to say mirrors because mirrors isn't even right, but resembles the turn of the century like Western world.
Yeah. But yeah, so if we ran that back, the rifle's gonna get a few less shots off. Or one less shot off in this case. Which I mean I think we'll still have to go through and we'll have to kind of do the thing that I was hoping to not have to do, which is their individual weapons are just going to have individual stats. We can probably use, like, rather than just being in categories, the categories are a baseline right? And then we can do basically a lot of what they did in Pathfinder design for weapon and armor and stuff because of the different stats. They kind of had whatever their base was, and then like, okay, we upgrade this has to take a hit. We upgrade this has to take a hit. We upgrade both of these things, it has to cost a lot more. That kind of deal. And we can just use the. I need to probably put this in something. Hold on. Let me find it again. Which sheet was it? It's in the condition. So we can use this as a baseline. I'm going to make a new handout. For now, we'll call it other rules. Weapons, base, damage. Okay. So we have. So these are our bases, which you already know. So cutting, thrusting, bashing weapons, 1d8 lethal, 1d10 stamina. Finesse, 1d6 lethal, 1d8 stamina. Heavy, 1d10 lethal, 2d6 stamina. Those are just fucking gnarly. But like,
oh yeah,
in a lot, like especially, this is where peril counters are really nice for PCs.
Excuse me.
This makes those weapons seem appropriately fucking damaging, right? Like, if somebody gets hit with a big-ass battle axe, like a big two-handed axe, they shouldn't just be, like, fine, you know?
Yeah.
And they won't be, but, like, as a player character, you know, you'll have peril counters and things where if something would have just murdered you at first level, you get to at least spend those and be like, shit, dude, I barely survived that. But if you just hit, like, you know, either Mook 1 or Mook 2 from our little scenario just now with that, like, they're probably dead. 4 hit points, you know? Either way. So these are our bases for those. Unarmed. Grappling, 2d6 stamina. Striking, 1d4 lethal, or 2d4 stamina. Ranged weapons, thrown is d6 lethal, d8 stamina. Long arms, 1d8 lethal, 1d10 stamina. Small arms, 1d6 lethal, 1d8 stamina. Which we'll probably have to play with the damages on those, you know?
Yeah.
Archaic, of course, is 1d6 lethal, 1d6 stamina.
Yeah.
Because Archaic is, like, way outdated.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we can play with the damages on those, but we'll have to actually go make individual weapons, I think.
I think that's fine, too. And we can start out quick and small, like, you know, we just have, like, revolver, we have magazine-fed, you know, handgun, we have, you know, bolt action, we have single shot, we have whatever, right? We can start out with, like, just a couple things in each category, for especially for range, and then for also same thing for close combat, as small number, and then we see what we feel is missing, what we feel is in, and we just kind of try and push and pull until something gives, and then we patch the hole.
Yeah. I think that's fine. I think as far as like listing and first drafts of weapons, obviously as Panda, I think you're gonna have a big hand in that because that would take so much more research for me. I just don't know guns as well. I don't know their history. I don't know their capabilities, that kind of stuff. And then, you know, if you guys can come up with like lists of them or whatever, then I can obviously go through and give input on like, okay, let's convert this into mechanical stuff and try to help balance it.
I think I forget. Do we have proficiencies and things like, for example, let's just take like D&D or Pathfinder, where you have common, simple, exotic, like those tiers of weaponry that base classes know how to use. So I would say
I think it's entirely based on your skill. Certain classes will probably get a rank in the insert. Like soldier is probably going to get like long arms, small arms, and then one of the melee weapons for free. They're probably just going to get a rank, right? Yeah.
I would just say that, well, for example, things like a lever action is inherently a little more complicated than a single shot rifle. You know, So yeah, some things would be easier to use, and that stands as well. Like a
Well, I mean, effectively using a rifle is also more difficult than effectively using a shotgun, right?
Yes.
Like, especially at close range.
But
So I would say, oh, go ahead.
If we come up with like certain tiers of like, oh, that's like categories, I can for sure drop like enough certain things in categories and have them be different enough so they have different stats. Where it's not just like, oh yes, it's a
right now
around a 8mm caliber rifle that has 5 in the magazine. It's bolt action. Yeah, that's what like every country had basically. You know, at some point.
Fixed mag, close to 8mm, 5 rounds.
Yeah. We can't overblow the categories too much, but so we already have weapon groups, right? And I'm mostly asking for firearm stuff. I can handle the melee weapons and shit. That's fine. But when it comes to firearms, we just have the 2 categories: long arms, small arms.
Yeah.
But to further divide that up, we could say maybe we call it maybe simple. I want to do at least 3. So I'd say like simple. I'm trying to think of a good word. Journeyman doesn't work. Just like a good word to like kind of encapsulate what I'm trying.
Yeah, I'm trying to think too, and my brain is just pooping right now.
Because I want to go simple, something, complex. That's kind of what I'm.
It's
thinking.
funny because complex is also going to be my third.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So we could maybe just say
go
intermediate.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say let's just go with intermediate. It's a good middle word. So.
So yeah, if you could try to so basically I'd say try to separate them into those categories between long arms and small arms as best you can. Obviously, make notes about why you're not sure something fits in a category or whatever, or why you put it in complex rather than intermediate. You can make those kind of notes too, and then we can slowly whittle them down and get them categorized where we feel like those are appropriate. But sometimes those little weird complexities add something unique to that weapon. So, but I'd say try to just categorize it into those 3 if you could.
A lot of what I'll try and do, this is probably a peek behind my curtains, is we're trying to not just say, oh, it's this gun from history, because we're trying to, it's not Earth. I'm probably going to be trying to mash like 3 different guns together a lot.
Oh, that'd be dope. I mean, actually, I prefer that. I prefer that.
I was going to say, I would too. And also in the sense that, again, just like what we're going off of, Panda, that you were saying, is the same thing. Is there, especially this era, there are so many guns that are the same gun, basically, but they just function in a technically slightly different way, but they're like the same caliber. They're about the same capacity of, like round capacity. They fill the exact same role, right? But they just look different, or were designed by different guys, so they do one quirky, weird thing.
Yeah. Well, you also hear about like, oh, this gun's so good, blah, blah, blah. Well, the reason it was so good is because it was made in a country where its industrial, its capabilities of making a gun really good was a lot higher. So of course that gun's going to be a lot better than another country that probably is not quite as well off, doesn't have the quality of steel that country might have, and stuff like that. So they're basically the same if they all had the same level of production.
Yeah.
Is how I would say. But yes.
I mean, they even had that in things that were literally the same rifle, just made in different factories in different countries. Like, one would be better than the other, just based off of what factory produced it.
Sticks. Exactly. Okay, so that I don't forget, because a lot of this still kind of feeds into a little bit of a random thought I had while I was like going to bed the other day, as far as how to do the skills. I think I mentioned, oh my god, it's so hot in my room. I mentioned once, I think to you, Dave, I said like we'll handle them in. I think the best way to do it would be like if there's a total of 10 ranks, you can only get 5 without like magical assistance and that kind of thing, right?
Right.
There's only 5 that are just naturally achievable. So my idea, I'm worried it makes it a bit too complicated, but I like it, so we'll just brainstorm it out. I think each of those first 5 tiers is a different thing, represents a different thing. Mm-hmm. One of them represents talent, like natural talent. one of them represents training, one represents extensive practice, one represents extensive experience, and one represents accomplishment. And basically, you have to get all of those things to get all 5 of your normal ranks. Everything else are like enchanted weapons, like boosts from like different humors or like whatever magic stuff you find.
Right.
Which in a way that's similar, I think, to how Pathfinder 2e does it a little bit, where you have like trained, expert, whatever. I don't know all the tiers, but like you have different levels of training is how it determines your skills, and they each add a different plus. But not getting quite that complex. But I figure if we have a label kind of for each dot you can take in a skill, showing what it represents. I don't know. It does something. It adds a complexity, such as it's not just about putting a point in a thing, right? You can like earn these. So yeah, I don't know. I just had that thought. But either way, I'm thinking you get five natural points you can put in something, and then you have. We'll call them, like, the other 5 would say are augments. 5 enhancements, right? Yeah. They can come from magic, they can come from a class ability that's, like, separate from the other things, they can come from other stuff, but you're never going to get more than, like, 10 additional to your skill in a thing. Because that's a lot.
A lot.
A fucking lot. And then as another thought I had as far as aiming goes, instead of it just adding another die, we could have it add a flat bonus. Mm-hmm. So aiming could be like you basically add a flat numerical bonus equal to your skill. Okay. So if you've got so in this case, it would, instead of giving me an extra die, it would have just given me a +1 because I have 1 skill in long arms. But if I had like 4 skill in long arms, aiming gives me +4. It's just, I don't know what that means because we're on a success system. So
yeah,
does it mean that those 4 points I can just add to one of the dice to make it a success, or to numerous dice to make them successes? Right.
Right. That's what I was trying to think of too. Because if it's +4 to 1 die, it's worse than +4 spread how you want.
Yeah, which +4 spread how you want but that's also huge.
Yeah,
you know,
it's massive because that can easily turn 3 fails into 3 successes.
Mm-hmm.
If you're close, or you know,
do we want that's a playtest thing, right? It's like, do we think that's too huge, or is that good? Because if you have 4 skill in something, that is not tiny. That's a lot.
You've dedicated a ton of like resources, essentially like in-game resources, to achieving 4 skill.
Exactly. So I'm kind of on board with being able to, you can just distribute it out if you want to, if we make it a numerical bonus rather than dice. If we leave it dice, then maybe it adds a number of dice equal to your skill instead. Like you get a basically double dip into your skill on that.
Right.
Which is both more and less powerful. So I think it's better if we don't have like allowed like double dipping into the same skill, but
yeah.
But either way, I think aiming should add more than. If you're better with the weapon, I think it should do more for you than just adding a single extra dice, because aiming is important. So, because I'm also lumping the aim action in with also like leading the target, that kind of thing, like literally just doing shit to make your shot more accurate.
Right.
It's not just pointing it at them. So
yeah,
skill and experience and all that matters. But the other thing with labeling those skill points is that we can then interact with them in a different way, where you can have situations or feats or items or things that literally call out if you have experience in this skill, or if you have talent in this skill, you get XYZ. Blah,
Right.
like that kind of thing, right? So maybe like your first point you put in it is like, which of these things do you want? Do you do something awesome? Are you just naturally good at it? Have you practiced it a long time? Or did someone train you? That kind of deal, right?
Mm-hmm. And I do really like that, and I really like the level of granularity that gives us. But I agree with what you said at the beginning of this, which I am worried it might make it a little too complicated in some cases. However, I feel like this is something that I really enjoy the granularity of it. I really enjoy the like thought exercise of doing it as well. So it's one of those things that this is something I really want to hand to first-time playtesters, right? People who have not played TTRPGs. When we get that like that pool of players who literally have never done this, this is the thing I want to see from them the most, is how they interact with this, because I don't know.
Yeah,
and that's the
not
thing.
Like a normal thing,
right? I feel like it's something that seems super intuitive. And it seems super intuitive to me, but that's coming from years of TTRPG experience, years of wargaming experience, years of that kind of stuff, right? And it's like, it doesn't seem crazy or out there, and seems totally doable, but the execution is going to be obviously what tells us yes or no, like how it's executed and how we see people execute it, not just how we as rules writers execute it, but how we see the players execute it. But I'm 100% on board with this, especially like these are the things I want to hand to playtesters and see what they do with this and see feedback. I also want feedback from experienced players, obviously, on this kind of thing. Like, how do you feel this is? And it's something that definitely stands out and is different from classic TTRPGs. Having like named skill point resource things. I don't know. Yeah, I love it.
That's the thought I was having. I was like, man, I really fucking like this idea, but like, you never know. You never know how people are going to react to it. So until they do.
Yeah, exactly.
Ellie seems pretty hype.
She do.
I cannot get this to do what I'm trying to get it to do, so it's just going to have to deal. Edit. Yeah, it shouldn't have to do it. That's fine. Okay, skill rules. 5 ranks. Unbold. 5 ranks possible. A different aspect of skill. Talent, training, practice, experience, accomplishment. Because that's the main part of his brainstorming, is like, what are the different aspects of it? If I had to put it in 5 things. And they all felt separate enough to me, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I think that they make sense as separate things. I think those 5 categories are good. And again, through playtesting, maybe we change one, maybe we don't. But I, right now, really enjoy that, really like it, and conceptually think it's awesome. I think the biggest challenge to me about this simply is just going to be the technical writing aspect of making sure the rules are written in a comprehensive and understandable way. But I think if we can nail that technical writing, I feel like it's intuitive enough that it will be a thing that people pick up easily. It's almost like assembling a background for a character. Like in 5e, when you do a character and you get background stuff, it's very similar to that. It feels like that. And that was an intuitive, easy part of the character building process. So...
love brutality.
Nobody interrupt it. Everybody just appreciate the music.
This is what's going to get us copyright claims. that one segment is going to get the whole video taken
too
down.
long.
With nobody talking. Yep.
I'm just typing down what each aspect represents, so I don't forget.
I need to look up how to play this on piano.
Yeah, it's Good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I put. Hold on. Let me bold these things because they need to look a certain way, or I'll not like them. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, so talent. Have your circumstances given you an advantage at this skill? Training. Were you mentored by an expert in this skill? Practice. Have you put extensive hours into getting good at this? Experience. Have you used this skill in the real world? Accomplishment. Have you done something meaningful with this skill? We're kind of getting to the tail end, so I'm just kind of doing stuff.
So I also think that with this, then we can have like, once you have X amount of skill points in something, you become an expert at it kind of thing. And so certain feats will call it, are you an expert at blank? If so, then this, right? You get an extra bonus for being an expert, which means you have 4 or more, 3 or more, whatever we decide, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever rank, it doesn't have to be expert, but it's that same kind of thing. Like, once you have X amount of skill points in this, it doesn't matter what combination they are, you just need that total number.
Yeah. Which, it's like, so if we look at if there's any combination of it, to me, it looks like any combination of 3, I would say that person's probably an expert.
Right.
Talent, training, practice.
Yeah.
They're not a master.
I was doing the same thing in my brain, right? Talent, training, practice, talent, training, experience, talent, right? Like talent, practice, experience, talent, whatever. Like,
yeah. Accomplishment, experience, talent. Like,
I was doing all of those. Like, I was just trying to pick any 3, right? And I started like I was forcing a lock, like a 3-part lock. I was doing that in my brain. Like I was forcing a 3-part lock, just like, and they all sound good together at 3.
Yeah. So, and then, I would say, yeah. So 3 probably makes you an expert here. But so just to kind of, because I'm curious of what you think, Dave. Let's flex your storytelling / creative ability a little bit here.
All right, let's go.
Give me an example of a character who has 1 rank in a skill, but make it a rank, make it a different one each time. So, an example of a character who has talent, but not training, experience, or practice or accomplishment. Someone who has training, but none of the others. Someone who has, you see what I mean?
So we're gonna just go with shooting here because that's kind of what we did for the thing. So you just have natural talent. It's just a kid who is just gifted with a rifle, picks it up, just has the shot. They just intuitively understand how to line up the shot and take it. Easy, right? Training is someone who has been drilled in this. Let's say, again, it could be this same kid, but instead of having natural talent, his grandfather made him go out and shoot every morning. And so he has a lot of training in this. Practice is someone who has put in a lot of time. So it's like, again, I'm going to use the same kid, but instead of it being his grandfather, he went out and hunted every week. He went out and had to hunt for food. So he used his rifle to hunt for food, and so he has a lot of practice with it. Experience is real world is this same kid now is like, let's say, drafted and put into the trenches and spent a lot of time working with this 1 rifle in these trenches. That is physical experience in a combat situation. And then accomplishment is the same kid did something awesome, did the thing where he like pulled off the thought of almost impossible shot where he got somebody like right through the scope from super far away. It's the same thing, same kid, 5 different situations, 5 different sets of that 1 skill.
So that was more of a kind of building. But give me one where they only have 1. So what's someone who has only training, no talent, no practice,
only training and no talent that's each of those is still that same kind of thing. If you just take that kid and that's their one thing when you built them, and that's what saves their background. Each of those. But then you put all of them together, and that's that same progression. They could be different people, but I'm saying if you wanted to build that one character, each of those is your new like almost background, right? And then let's say you go step by step to then accomplish and pull all of those together.
Yeah. And because I feel like all of those are believable, right? One of the examples I thought of before, so that was the experiment, really, was like, can you make a believable background for any of these? And you can. Like, you just did it in 10 seconds. Training with no talent is Rock Lee. Man, I don't know, bruh. He didn't have like magic-y like talent. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say any of the people in Naruto didn't have talent because they're all so special, you know. But no, I could see that. I could see that being it. He wasn't really born with that. That was a lot of hard work. So yeah, he would have got that accomplishment rank if he'd beat Gaara. But yeah, each of them can be believable, and Ellie's pointing out several. Which yeah, you know what? I'm a big believer in that. You can work your way into talent, right? Because you alter your circumstances. You become a talented person. You don't have to be born with it, but you can.
Talent is often a byproduct of training and practice if you don't naturally have it, right? And that's the thing all of those things can be natural byproducts of the others, right? If you start out as the only thing you do is you want to practice this one thing over and over and over again, you will build talent. If you start out and you practice one thing over and over again, it kind of becomes training at a certain point if you build a program into it. Instead of just doing practice, when you build a program, like if I'm just going to use a really simple thing of like shooting a basketball, right? If I just practice shooting a basketball over and over again, I'm really good at that shot. But then if I train different ways to move around and shoot from different spots and I build in drills, it becomes training and practice. If I then play a bunch of games using the training and practice I learned, that builds experience into it. And then talent is a byproduct of these things, right? And then accomplishment is at the end, you hit the buzzer beater from like, you know, their free throw line. And that's a simple real world example of how all 5 of these things break down separately, but can then be used to build upon each other.
Yeah. And really all of them can be kind of interesting depending on when you get them. The only one that is more difficult narratively is talent. Like, if that's the last rank you get, that one's a little bit more difficult to like build something around. Yeah. All the others could be pretty interesting. Like if you have 4 ranks and the only one you don't have is training. As like from a storyteller perspective, now it's like, oh, sick, dude. It's gonna take a real badass to train this character now. So I get to now introduce this like fucking awesome like legendary gunman that's gonna like be able to come in and be their mentor briefly to give them that last rank.
Yeah, which I also like.
Or like even some would be kind of interesting. Like practice. They've just never fucking sat down and practiced with the weapon. They've been trained, they've used it constantly, but they've never like just been there to like drill and get good on their own. It's not super crazy. There's not like a whole journey involved, but it's just like an interesting perspective to be like, yeah, they spent, you know, my character's gonna go back to their home on the farm or whatever, and back to where their dad used to try to teach them to shoot. And they didn't want to learn. They're gonna go and do what he told them finally, and just practice out in the field for a few hours a day. Like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. You pass some time, you get your last rank, right? You see what I mean? Yep.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I like about training is, in the sense too, is that because like you can practice a skill without anybody ever having told you the right way to do it, but you can also have somebody tell you the right way to do it without ever practicing it, like you said, right? That breakup between like, this is how he taught me how to shoot versus this is how I practiced over and over again, right? So I like having that dichotomy there, or the separation, I guess is probably the better word for it.
Yeah. And even looking at them, some of them I could see being things that are granted, right? Like, I could see accomplishment being one that if you do a certain thing, the storyteller literally saying, okay, you get your rank and accomplishment here, right? Like for free, so to speak. I could see that being a thing depending on what happens, and I'm okay with that too, because I think it's a cool way to be able to reward a character's accomplishments, is being literally like mechanically, yeah, you literally are better now because of being able to do that. You can have weird shit where the character with no ranks in small arms or whatever. He gets the kill shot on some nasty, terrifying boss or whatever. Like, bro, you get accomplishment in firearms now.
Especially, dude, I was gonna say, like,
you 100% get that.
You roll like 3 10s somehow, and it's just like on a shot that you needed 3 successes and whatever, and it's just like, oh, this is the ultimate critical success that you shouldn't have made.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And there's good and bad with it too. Like, because you could begin play with that as your backstory is like, I don't know, you were the pawn of some abusive experiment or whatever, and like you finally stood up to him and shot him dead in his laboratory, having never picked up a gun before. But all you get is you get the accomplishment rank, start play because you did something well beyond yourself with it. But you're not like otherwise good. You're just not afraid of it and you know how to use it. So, but then it means like that can't be granted to you later for doing something awesome. You have to like try to get the other ones. But
yeah, I will say though, really quick, also just a nod to Ellie's point of the problem with talent without training. Is when they want to get better, they don't have the skills that hard work and so, which is kind of true and is one of the things that you see, especially with people who have ADHD, who can attain a reasonable level of mastery at something like very, very fast without being properly told how to do it because they just intuitively kind of get the thing that they then don't do that thing anymore once they've hit that level. Which is why you have the like, oh, are you really a jack of all trades or do you just have ADHD and you pick up and drop tasks like they're hotcakes, which is a thing that I've done throughout my entire life. But also, like, I'm good at some things that nobody ever taught me how to do. And then, like, let's say my boss now taught me how to do this thing correctly. And now I get to use my ability to just naturally understand and learn things quickly with somebody actually telling me the proper way to do it. They stick them both together and I'm way better at it. So,
yeah. So, there's that. I just thought that was fun. And then, I don't know if we necessarily need to come up with labels for all the enhancement ones. I think they're just, if they're outside of these things, they count as an enhancement bonus.
Yeah.
Oh wow, past that time quick.
Oh wow, yeah, it's already midnight.
It's midnight, guys. At least that's why college sucked. I never had to study until third year of college. Yeah, I didn't really study either in high school, and I didn't go to college. So
I've never studied in my entire life for anything ever, and I'm a 4-time college dropout. Maybe that's why. I studied
for a spelling test once, and I think it was just because my mom wanted me to. But
yeah, I'm sure I've never studied anything on my own volition. I think my mom probably made me study it once or twice, but
a couple times, elementary school,
independently on my own. Never.
We's doing the thing. Let's.
All right, yep.
There's
so
the
good
way.
night, everybody. I'm gonna do real fast before you kick us out of here and we go raid somebody. I'm gonna make sure to tell everybody we have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Check all those for updates, things like that. There is a link for our Discord posted in here. Join it, talk to us, tell us things. We'll be back to our regular scheduled programming next week of more Into the Storm.
Just tell us the secrets.
Yeah, those are the secrets. I'm done. Also, videos, replays post on Mondays. So if you want to see what happened last week to refresh yourself before we do our stream next week, it is live on YouTube.
Yeah,
so you should watch it. And subscribe and ring the bell and all those YouTube phrases that people say all the time. Yeah, do those things.
Yeah, do them things. And of course, thank you again, Lawless, for giving us the follow. Always appreciate that. Glad you stuck around, enjoyed the stream. But yeah, later this week we'll be finishing up our 1/2. Oh, that was nice of you.
Oh, thank you, Ellie.
You gave Naghide a subscription. I'll just be sure to tell Neil to thank you. So, yeah, always appreciate you, Ellie. But yeah, we'll be finishing up our attempted one-shot, now a two-shot of A Goat Without Equal. Our appreciation one-shot for getting to affiliate. We'll be doing that this coming Thursday. Hopefully being able to finish that up. And then next week, we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming with Into the Storm on Tuesday. So look forward to those. You are our number one cheerleader. I'm giving you the heart symbol, but you can't see it because we're in the exit screen. Just know it's there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can confirm.